An addictive personality. Do you have one? Well, we're about to do a quiz together and we're going to find out. You ready? Get your pens out. It's going to be extensive. Yes, we actually are going to be doing this. So make sure that you get your pen out. Pause me and I'll see you in a minute. Well, I obviously didn't pause because I was fidgeting with this little piece of gum wrapper and I was trying to trick you there and you being like, oh my god, our computer's getting so smart that they can just sense when somebody says pause and then they do it on their own. But that didn't work out, did it? Nothing ever works out for me! So, we're going to be talking about addictive personalities. So, if you would like to know if you do have one or not, here's the question. First off, do you believe you have an addictive personality? Because, really, when it comes to the sides, it gets a little more complicated than that, but that's it. Test over, how'd you score? Right? A lot of it, where they turned out, they're doing a lot of studies into this, when people were saying, I've got an addictive personality, you know what they were really saying? I've got a habit that I don't want to give up, and I'm looking for excuses to keep it. Now, I've noticed this myself when it's come to, say, my big struggle in life, which I do like this. This is my Oprah version of just like, I just can't say no to ham, right? Like, my version of that is, I just can't say no to the darts. How much more Aussie is that as well? Yep, you're looking at him right here. Australian Oprah with exactly the same budget. Look at this. Look at the thousands of housewives adorning me in the background. They're just being very silent at the moment, okay? Because they're sensitive. But, right? Right? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I don't. Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yes. Addictive personalities, to a degree, does exist. Let's just go through the science and then we'll go back to that overarching point, which is that, if you are more conducive to being risk-taking, with the actual quiz that I do of Why Him, Why Her by Helen Fisher, which you could get at Friendly Geordie's, the Patreon, where I've gone into it extensively over and over again. That is my Quran in life. There's a few Qurans that I have. I've got my Friendly Geordie's Quran, which is Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. And I think here, obviously, it'd have to be Unlimited Power Within and Why Him, Why Her by Helen Fisher, because it's just the perfect way to disseminate everyone in your life very quickly. And I'm really into just lotting people into boxes and then not changing them, regardless of whatever evidence comes after that. Because I've already made up my mind. I can't be fucked putting any more mental energy into anything that isn't me. So, one of the ones, obviously, is a dopamine brain. These are the risk takers that you have in your life. And I want you to think about someone. If this isn't you, I want you to think about somebody in your life. That was a pause, actually. Jesus. I was tricked. I thought the computer did pause then. Fooled by myself. God, I'm a good actor. Do that. I want you to be thinking about somebody in your life that you would see as, outgoing, likes taking risks, is more of, less averse to the thought of danger, more averse to the thought of, more motivated by the concept of fun than avoiding danger. You got that person in your mind? How many drugs do they take? It's a pretty close 1-to-1, is it not? There are very rare exceptions. I've got a couple of people that I won't name that work on Friendly Geordies that I think are in those exceptions. They are people that are high risk takers. They love taking risks. But I think because they've got that bigger calling, they've channeled it into something where they just don't take any drugs at all. And that's a rare outcome. Most of the time, if you are motivated by risk taking, if you're motivated by fun, if you're motivated by the idea of a thrill or a rush, you are going to have an addictive personality. Because when people say addictive personality, what do they mean? Because as we've said before at Friendly Geordies many times, Jordan Shanks, obviously, sorry. Where are my manners to me? Sorry for disrespecting you, Jordan Shanks. What is addictive personality? What is addiction? Addiction is just whatever you habitually do. Everything that you do on a routine basis, which is virtually everything. 95% of what you did today is going to be what you did yesterday. At roughly the same time as well, if you start penning down your day. And this is the whole thing. This is why it's really good to just actively write down what your routine is and try and stick to that routine, because after a while, it does become self-fulfilling prophecy. And then you go, yep, okay, I went on my morning walk, and then I went to Coles and I pat the dog outside and it bit me. I don't know why they put it out there. It was clearly a psycho, and I clearly can't read body language to the point that I can't even see a snarling dog. So I've got my own psychological problems as well. Oh well, right? Like, that's routine. Routine, when you start becoming very conscious of it, you can shape it, which is true power. But the second thing is, this is why we're always saying that you should write down routine. If you start writing down routine, it becomes more entrenched, because you're both conscious and subconsciously aware of it. But even if you don't, you are being dictated by your habits right now. Your habits are guiding your behavior right now. Maybe even the fact that you're clicking on this video is because when you see a Jordan Shanks video come up from years of it just coming up, you go, ugh, and click on it. Even if it has nothing to do, you probably right now switch off. If you don't have an addictive personality, why are you watching this? I'll tell you why. Because you're addicted. There you go. I contradicted what I've been saying for the last 5 minutes. I hope you're happy with yourselves. But addiction is only an addiction. Otherwise, it's a routine, right? But it's an addiction when you don't want to be doing that pattern. Or you at least know on some level that you shouldn't be doing it. Smoking being your classic example, overeating being another. These are examples when people say, I have an addictive personality. Now, there might be some, as always, like the nature versus nurture debate, there might be some truth to that, in that you might be one of these people that's just more high in dopamine. And so you're just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, beer, I can't say no to that. But here's something that is just as true, right? Your environment will beat your goals every time. Every time. Let me give you an example of this. Just came back from a tropical island, right? Vanuatu. All the locals there, unbelievably accommodating, unbelievably nice, being like, hello, do you want to live? Come and see my piece of shit hut that is half built by some foreign aid program. Here you go, have all the pawpaws and fish you like. Why? Because they grew up on paradise. And then every now and then the volcano explodes and kills a lot of them. But, you know, that could be part of paradise in a philosophical way. Sure, that's what you're thinking when you're getting burned alive by lava. So, that's why there was, like, I think before white settlement on Vanuatu, I think the population was close to 1 million. It's fucking tiny. It's just because food was so abundant, because like, if you're on a volcano, as long as it's not erupting, everything's just endlessly growing. Like, you go past rock fences there and there's full-blown trees growing out of it everywhere. You couldn't stop life there if you wanted to. Do you think that you would be getting the same hospitable welcoming from natives of the Sahara Desert? I don't think so. I think that the reason that there is like a lot of that kind of like, even the ISIS-y beheadings, yeah? I think a big element of that is the fact that they are in a desert and everything's so scarce and everyone's just so fucking tense. And you can see it in their faces when you ever see one of those documentaries of just like, and what do you live off? And they're just like, and it's like, okay, what? Like goat milk. That's it. Goat milk, and then they just eat twigs in the bush, and then it rains once every 10 years, and they go fucking nuts because, like, some people grow up their entire lives and they're just like, oh my God, you know? Like, the difference in the type of person, the level of generosity, the level of happiness and warmth, all of these things change dramatically because of your environment, which is why I'm always saying, right, like when people say, I want to move into a share house, it's like, I hope to God that is good people in there, because if it is not, that environment will shape you and it will bring you down with them. Okay? Now, don't argue with me on this. So, when it comes to environment, this is the same thing that you will notice in every single habit book ever. When do I smoke? When I'm around my friends that smoke. Other than that, I don't smoke. Why? Because I can't smoke. The ciggies ain't there. And also, I've just kind of trained myself just not to buy cigarettes. Being poor and being at university and having to bum them off people at the bus stop kind of just became a fairly shamed associate thing with, going in. And also just not being able to afford them. That was also helpful, I suppose. But the point remains valid. When you see something in your environment that you associate with that bad habit, say it is your drinking chair, like Daddy's drinking chair, which is the lazy boy. What's he going to do? He's going to get the rum and coke because he's sitting in that chair. It has been linked into his mind every time that, like, sit down, rum, duh. Yeah? So, how do you change it? If you are one of these people that is as an addictive personality, the only thing that I can tell you is that's great, because that addictive personality will do wonders for you in terms of your motivation if you channel it into something that is less destructive than drugs. With you, doesn't matter where you are in life, what I want you to notice is your triggers in your environment. This is why I'm always saying, like, even on the Jordan Shanks channel, which you can sign up to, by the way, for just the less of a price than one of your awful habits, which is a coffee, you will be getting advice that will get you off that fucking coffee in the first place, I can assure you. Or at the very least, being able to control it so that it's like a sometimes food, as opposed to this thing that you have, otherwise you get headaches, which if you think about it, isn't that terrifying? That if you don't have this specific bean, it's like the spice on Dune, you die. Let's get you off that level, yeah? Let's make it a sometimes food. But yeah, when it comes to these ideas, what is in your environment is what is going to be the most determinant factor of you being addicted to something, right? Write that down. Your environment shapes your habits, not the other way around. Your environment shapes your habits. This is why in the podcast and, on the Jordan Shanks channel, as I was just previously talking, behind the paywall, I'm always going on about the importance of making sure that the things in your house, kind of like that, I can't remember her name now. What was that hot Japanese chick's name that was the MILF that was always being like, let's make this house a teddy, yay. How famous are you? Famous for 6 months? Yes. And then you disappeared. Yes. Well, 5 months longer than I would have expected. Good for you. But what was the main point that she was always talking about with tidiness? Does this item spark a joy? If it doesn't, throw it away. Do it. That's what I want from you, because what I want in your environment is just a bunch of things that trigger you to spark a joy. And if something in your environment doesn't spark joy, you get rid of it. Why are you doing that? Because you are habitually training yourself to be happier and therefore more productive, more motivated, and more liked by people in general, purely because of the things in your house. An easy win from like a couple of hours of work. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to habits. When you come to habits, if you have an addictive personality, this is the first thing that I want you to write down. When do you do it? When do you do it? What's around you when you're doing it? You notice that? That's the key. You change that, you change your habit. You want more stuff that's going to change your life instantly, give you an hour's investment of your time after listening to just 10 minutes with the smallest investment possible. There is nothing in the planet. I actually do believe this, right? There's nothing on planet Earth that is better than Jordan Shanks. That is such a non-biased source, isn't it? Wouldn't you agree? It is for me. I truly do think that, because I just think that, my God, every time I think about it, if I didn't read those 300 books, where the fuck would I be in life? And the answer is I'd probably be at Roads and Maritime Service right now, just sort of like, ticket R31. And then me coming up and being like, did you fill out the form with the JS file? No, this is the J7 file. Sure, please don't get angry at me. Okay, security, just send him out. No, you can come back when you calm, sure. Like, that would be my life right now if it wasn't for those books. If that is your life right now, I'll tell you what you need. You need me, because you have a wage, you wage cuck, and you're going to give me a little bit of your wage for the rest of your fucking life, because you can't be fucked to read 300 books. And also, let's be honest, if you are, you don't have the time. I'm doing all of the hard work for you. And so, if you want a decade's worth of information compressed into just a couple of like very, very helpful reminders throughout the week, and also things that will, over time, make you have better habits, which then change the rest of your life. You're gonna find nothing else better than Jordan Shanks. I mean, for Christ's sakes, one of these like life coaches, right? I've been to a couple of life coaches. I'm sure there's great ones out there, but the ones that I went to sucked. They were charging like $150 an hour, and they were terrible. I'm so much better. I'm telling you right now, I'm so much better. What am I? 1/75th of the price. It's insane. What I'm doing, I'm practically giving it away. I really am though. And good on me. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.